It's Soar America Week 2! Welcome to Soar America. 2 couples, 2 dogs, and 2 Class B RVs on a cross-country road trip. Eric, our pilot, has challenged himself to fly all the way across the country in his sailplane in a series of connected flights. His wife, Julie, Tim, and I work as his crew. Join us as we soar, drive, and camp across America. Week 2 began with 2 days of rest, waiting for the weather to get good so that Eric could fly. So we spent those 2 days in a little town called Del City, Texas. Population between 200 and 300. The people here were absolutely wonderful. It was a nice place to stay. This is the nicest small town. The store was closed, and he opened up the store so that Eric could get something that he needed. And while we were waiting for him to open the store, somebody else pulled up in a truck and asked if we needed something because he was going to open the store for us. Such a neat small town. Great atmosphere. But we are ready to get back in the air and back on the road. On mornings where there's a good running route, a good place to run, and we have time, we'll go out for a run before a flying day. First got ready to launch today, the wind appeared to be coming from the east, so we sat up on the west side of the runway, and then the wind shifted on us as it was predicted to do. So it was a little odd that it was east because it was predicted to be west. So now we have towed the plane to the other end of the runway, and Eric is ready to take off. Then we finally got to fly out of Del City. Eric was a little nervous about that flight. He wasn't sure he would get very far and thought there was actually a good chance that he would end up right back at the Del City airport. Once he got through the valley, he found some lift and he was able to fly until sunset, making it to Brookfield, Texas. No matter how many times I see him launch, it gives me chills every time, even though it's hot. It is almost 10:30 at night. We've had a long day. This was another one of those days that Eric flew further than he really expected to. When he started out today, he really wasn't sure he was going to get very far. There was a pretty good chance that he would just come back to the airport where he took off. He needed to fly back, I think it was 17 miles, because at the end of his flight into Del City, he had to turn on his motor. And one of the rules he set for himself is that all the miles that he takes across have to be soaring, non-motorized. So once he turned on his motor, then he marked that spot and he had to backtrack to that today before he started out. And then he had a couple of airports in mind and ended up even making it further. So he had a really good flying day. He said it was very tough at the beginning, as he thought it would be. And then once he got to a certain spot, everything got better. And his only limitation today was sun. He is required to come down before sunset. And he touched down here at the airport 3 minutes before sunset. So he made it, just barely. We were, I don't know, an hour and a half after him getting here, and he was lucky enough to find somebody here who had a hangar and is willing to store his plane overnight, so we don't have to take the plane apart tonight, and we won't have to put it back together tomorrow. So it was funny, Eric met us at the highway and had a golf cart that the guy had given him to show us where to come in. So it looked like Eric had taken over the airport. He had his own golf cart and his own hangar. He had a code to get into the lounge to get snacks and free Wi-Fi. And it was a really, really nice place to land here in Brownfield, Texas. We actually drove from Texas to New Mexico and back to Texas today to get here. So happy to be in. It's a late night, so hope we can get a good night's sleep so we can go again tomorrow. So it is after 11 o'clock at night and we need to eat dinner because we got in late. And the dogs travel in the same crate they sleep in, but we move it because right now the crate for travel is on what becomes our bed when we lay the couch down. But they're ready for bed, and so they won't come out. They're quite content to stay where they are. So Tim is trying to coax them out with treats, but they just run back in with the treat. So I don't know if they're going to let us go to bed tonight.
We may have to recline in the front seats.
We may have to take the front where they usually sleep because they're taking ours. Come on, girls, we all want to go to bed.
Alright, so we're 6 flights in. We started near LA, had a short flight, so not too far from there. And the next flight flew to Blythe, almost in Arizona, then to Casa Grande here right in central Arizona between Phoenix and Tucson. From there to Deming, New Mexico. From there down through El Paso and to Del City, Texas. And then from there to a little southeast of Lubbock, where we are right now. Brownfield, Texas. So that's 6 flights so far. It's 900 miles made good, or about just a little over 40% of the total 2,100. So we have about 1,200 miles left to get to Charleston, South Carolina, or Savannah, Georgia.
Once we got to Brookfield though, thunderstorms started happening, which locked us in place for a few days. Our first night in Brookfield, we got in really late. So we just boondocked at the airport. It was a rough night with lots of winds from the storms. The next day, we found our way to Coleman RV Park, which is run by the city and is free. They just ask for donations. So this has been a nice place for us to stay for several days now, waiting out those storms. This is the neatest area in Brownfield. Our RV park is here that's run by the city, and they have all these different activities, all in this one location. Really, really cool spot. Along with use of the hangar, we also got use of the golf cart. So after 3 days of rest here in Brownfield, Texas, it is finally time to attempt a flight again. And Julie has to run back to the van to grab something because we are so out of practice. The chase crew to just stay put until we find out if he has an airport made, because it'll probably only be about 20 miles to the first airport. But he has been working for almost 2 hours to try to get some lift. So we're still hanging out at the airport waiting to see if we're gonna chase him anywhere or if he is coming right back here. Tough conditions out there today. So Eric flew for about 5 hours and made it 20 miles. Rough conditions today. But lucky for us, he found another spot with hangar space available. So yet again, we don't have to take the glider apart tonight. He has a place to leave it. So Julie, where are we?
I have no idea where we are. We're somewhere in Texas. We are, wait, I can tell you, we are southwest of Lubbock.
Okay. Eric knew once we reached Texas, we could likely get slowed down by weather. This happened to the man who attempted this several years ago. He was going a more northerly route, so he got stuck for about 2 weeks in Kansas, which is about the same longitude as Texas. So it wasn't altogether surprising when we were stuck in Texas for a while. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to continue with us on this journey, press the subscribe button. See you next time.